Sure, yeah, I'm Martin, co-founder Gnosis. Gnosis is a prediction market platform on top of Ethereum.
And what got you involved into the Ethereum space?
Yeah, I'm involved in the blockchain space for quite a while. So I think like it's almost 6 years ago, we were very excited about Bitcoin back then because that was what existed back then, and we were also fascinated about the concept of prediction markets to use them to aggregate information. So we started the Bitcoin prediction market 6 years ago, but always tried to build it decentralized. But with Bitcoin, we couldn't really use. We of course use Bitcoin as a currency for the prediction market, but the logic of the prediction market, that was just a normal centralized server, and we tried to build that on Bitcoin, and maybe it's possible, but if it's possible, it's really, really, really hard. Mm-hmm. But then Ethereum came around, and with Ethereum, with smart contracts, that is very possible and much easier. So we kind of, after 2 or 3 years working on that project, we started all over again, but now on Ethereum, started Gnosis. That's how we got involved.
Cool. And so the prediction market is one side of Gnosis. You guys are also doing an exchange as well. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's connected. So a prediction market, as the word already says, is mainly a market. So you create those, we call them outcome tokens. So instruments that have a specific payout if something specific happens, where you make the predictions by buying and selling them. So that already implies you need a place to trade those things. Mm-hmm. So we could have used one of the existing. Or we could use a centralized exchange, but that would remove a lot of purpose of building it on Ethereum. So we could use one of the existing decentralized exchanges, but there are some elements where you can build it more efficient if you build it specifically for prediction markets. But on the other hand, the market, if we now create those marketplaces, they can of course be used for tokens in general. So that's why we also built a decentralized exchange.
Cool. So what are the exciting topics for the future of Ethereum to you?
I would say this year I am quite excited about DAOs. So there are a bunch of projects that are now ready, almost ready. So there's Aragon, there's DAOstack. There are TCRs, token created registries. I would call them kind of mini DAOs or small DAOs. And I'm quite convinced that they will become a very big thing in the next year.
So at ChronoLogic, we're building the Ethereum alarm clock. This is a protocol that lets you schedule transactions. Have you ever ran into a use case that could use the alarm clock, or have you ever encountered the need for it?
Sure, many. So one of as you mentioned, we are building this decentralized exchange. Currently, the first iteration of that is using a reverse auction, Dutch auction. So it works that you want to sell some tokens, and you basically submit them to this auction contract, and the auction contract has an automatic price function. So it starts high, trying to sell the tokens at the maximum price, and continuously the price goes down until there's enough demand. And in the current version, if you want to interact with that as a buyer or someone or a bidder, you would basically need to wait until the specific point in time, and then you need to submit the transaction. Of course, it would be nice if you could schedule that transaction already and at that point in time. And ideally, you would even schedule it based on some conditions. So you would say at that time, if the thing is still, if the auction is still running, well, then I want to do a transaction, and I of course then don't need to be online later. Yeah.
Cool. And then if people want to learn more about Gnosis, how can they find out more?
Yeah. So the three The three things where we are most active is, of course, our website, gnosis.pm, our blog, we are quite active, blog.gnosis.pm, and Twitter, Reddit, not so much. Those are the places. Of course, we are regularly at conferences, and if you happen to be in Berlin, stop by at Full Node. That is a co-working space we are running in Berlin. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Martin.
Thank you.